Welcome to another Demarcation Media Mega Construx review. Today we're going to be taking a look at Halo Heroes Series 13. But before we go and look at the figures, I just want to say, as I'm recording this, I actually have a cold, so if I sound weird, that's why. But here we go, all 5 figures of Series 13. Now, typically, Halo Heroes series have 6. Now, there have been exceptions. I think Series 10 had almost double that because it was a special series. And then this one only has 5 because the 6th figure was a spoiler for the story of Halo Infinite. And since Halo Infinite got delayed, the figure got pulled. So my theory is that we're going to end up seeing 7 figures in the Wave 14. So that's kind of a bummer. I really would have liked to see what figure that was, but I guess we're just gonna have to wait. So let's take a look at the packaging for these guys, and it's pretty much the same as we saw with Series 12. Not much to see around the back. There are a few things that I don't really like, but we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so here's the first. This Chief on this packaging has very, very purposeful scoring on his armor. Like, the design is very purposeful, and you can tell, and the battle rifle has very bright silver. And from the looks of things, the figure has just kind of some silver slapped on, and the battle rifle's print is very hard to see. Inconsistency number 1. This one's what I more typically complain about. This visor on this guy has so much detail in it, whereas the figure here, it's got really nothing. And then for this guy, his Bulldog shotgun has only a print for the little spot that ejects the shell, whereas the one in the package actually has a lot more print and looks way cooler. So this is actually a case where they downplayed the detail, and I think that was a poor choice. So kind of strange for some of these, but let's go ahead and start opening them. I'm just going to go ahead and get this guy out of the way. I know for a lot of people, he was a disappointment, and to be honest, I share that opinion. We did not need another Chief, especially one so generic looking as this. There's the battle rifle. In these packages, there is nothing but the little slip in the bottom here. Sometimes they'll put like extra parts or whatever, but none of these have any sort of extra parts. All right, here's our little paper, and it's nothing really new. It's pretty much the same as we always get. Here's that battle rifle. It's not terrible. Like, it's a decent weapon, but it's just kind of the contrast is missing. And then Chief himself, go ahead and stick that in his hand. He's not bad. He's just generic. Like, prints are good. The head looks pretty good. And that silver is kind of cool. Like, it's interesting. But I think it's just disappointing. The stand, though. I like this stand. Series 12 had like a... You know what? Actually, let me just go ahead and grab one of the Series 12 stands. There we go. This has like almost a circuit board look. And then this one... To me, this one looks more Forerunner in its design, and I really like it. I like the gray as well. That's pretty cool. So, I mean, that's about it for this figure. There's not much to say. I know the official reason that this guy's in the wave is Mega wants everybody to be able to get a Chief, even kids on allowance money. So, I mean, I understand their reasons. It's just kind of disappointing. And then here is the Chief from the Warthog Rally. I will do a video comparing all of the Halo Infinite Chiefs at some point, but for now, this is the comparison we'll do. And yeah, I know the lighter green is more accurate, but I gotta say I like this matte green a lot. So, yeah, it's just kind of a meh figure overall. But you know what's not a meh figure? This Elite Warlord. This guy is unlike anything that we have seen from Mega before, and I am super excited to take a closer look. He's got so many new pieces, some new prints. Oh yeah, and that yellow. Come on, stick on there. Stick. Ah, okay. I got worried there for a second. That yellow. Dang. Okay, let's get in closer because there is a lot to look at with this guy. There we are. First of all, oh, he doesn't want to come off his stand now. There's his stand, same as Chief's, just with the Elite name on there. So first and foremost, that thing that catches my eye is this energy sword. This is an old style energy sword, but it's printed. So let me bring in one of the newer energy swords that are printed. This is from the Arbiter, from the Chief versus Arbiter pack. Look at that. And then here is a normal old style. And this plastic is kind of cloudier and doesn't let the light through quite as much. Kind of holds it a little bit more. I think that's really cool. Like, look, black and then silver. That's so cool. I love that. But then the figure himself. So, he's got new shoulder armor, a new helmet, and a new chest setup. And look at all that print. We've got the gray running around the back, gray on the side, some gray detail on the helmet, on the chest, in between like the toe sections down there. And if we remove the helmet, he has print on his neck. How cool is that? We have never gotten, correct me if I'm wrong, we've never gotten print on an Elite head like this. And that helmet is just so intimidating. I love that. This guy more than makes up for the fact that Chief was a meh figure. Like, literally the only thing that I can find to complain about is the fact that on this particular figure, some of the joints feel a little loose. But that's about it. And then, real quick, there is the Ultra from Series 12. And I thought this guy looked intimidating before, but not next to this Warlord. Next up is a figure I'm actually really excited for, because this is not only a new Spartan armor, that is Spartan Trailblazer, but the kind of wash that Mega used to give their figures a lot has returned. So let's go ahead and open him up. And I say this every time I make a video on anything with these blister packs, but it is impossible to open these and keep the packaging in good condition. It's just impossible. No way around it. Ooh, DMR with a scope. All right. Packaging has been successfully ruined. Okay, first of all, can I just say how slick a color scheme this is? Like, that is so cool. The white and then that muted orange. I don't think we've seen this muted orange since the Promethean Strike set. Although even those might be a different shade of orange. I'll have to do a comparison at some point. But I'm getting some real, like, Republic Commando vibes from this guy. His head kind of looks similar to a clone trooper or a Mandalorian, but it's a little bit more beefed up. And then that chest, look at that. It's got, like, I don't know, is that hard points or ammo pouches or what? Then it's got some print down here. And then just the lines of the armor has been brought out by this dirt wash, which is applied perfectly. It's like there's not too much. There's just enough to mute this white and not make it look toyish. I really like that. I really, really like that. The visor is done well. The detail that was on the box kind of gets lost because of the way the paint is, but you know, what can you do? Around the back, very little print, but again, all the detail is kind of visible because of that wash. We've got a big shoulder armor similar to what Spartan George had with a print, and then this DMR with a removable silver scope, and it's got a tiny bit of silver print up here. So I really, really like this. I don't know really any downsides to this figure. He just looks so good. And I don't really see any quality control issues either, at least not yet. Next, we have the return of the Brute Chieftain. We have not had a Brute Chieftain since old Articulation. There was the NMPD Air Base, I think was the last set to have a Chieftain. Although I incorrectly said in one of my previous videos, I called a captain a Chieftain, I believe. But no, this time we actually have a Chieftain. And he's got some new pieces and some old ones redone in some new paint. This is an exciting figure. I know there's a lot of people that were really, really hyped when this figure was leaked. And so I'm excited to take a closer look. Typically, I'm not one to get real excited over enemy figures because I am a sucker for the UNSC, but I don't know, this guy might change it. Wow. And I thought the Elite Warlord was intimidating. Just look at this guy. Wow. Whoa. The print. Oh my gosh. Okay, so first thing I want to note, he has the old style banished feet, which means he can actually stick to studs. Look at that. None of those crummy, weird feet that a bunch of the brutes have. His gravity hammer has a lot of print going on. Some yellow showing through to show the glow of whatever electronics are inside. When you look real close, you can kind of see how that could have been maybe a little more yellow applied, but from a distance, it's completely fine. So I don't really see that as much to complain about. He can hold it, and so far it doesn't seem like it's loose in his hand. I know from my experience, a lot of the gravity hammers have been. And then he has a new chest plate with a bunch of print on it. It looks like it's molded in dark gray, and then it's got silver printed on it, and then red. Got some red print on the feet, print for the little blade on the forearm and on the shoulder armor. More print around the back, even on like the groin armor. And then we got a new helmet. Look how epic that thing is. Of course, it's our buddy Craig under there. But once he puts this helmet on, he becomes a terror to any Marines. The only thing I can say, like, the downside of this figure is that he's not giant. But that's, I don't know, that's okay to me. Let's bring in another intimidating brute. Hyperius. This guy wins. No contest. See, Hyperius is kind of dark and like you don't see as much of his detail. You see this guy right away. You see the red. You see the spiky edges. And then you know that you better run or you are just dead. Now we are on our last figure. This guy, I know a lot of people said is kind of a dud too, because he's just another Mark 7. But I'm going to say something surprising here. I think this guy might be my favorite out of the whole series. I got to take a closer look at him before I fully decide, but he might be my favorite. And I will tell you why once we get him out. Here we go. And as I said, there's no extra pieces in there, just another slip, so we don't really need that. All right, there he is out of the package. And yeah, that guy is, this guy is a completely underrated gem, in my opinion. And I know probably a lot of you are not going to agree with that, which is completely fine. But there's something about the way that they paired this armor. It's a Mark 7 helmet with one of the new style chest plates. I'm not sure which one that is. And then we've got the kind of grenadier belt, big shoulder armor. I think this guy would be, as it was said so aptly over on the Domains channel, this guy would be a Swolger because he is so beefed up. And then he's got this shotgun, Bulldog shotgun. We've seen a lot of these in recent sets, but this one just has a little bit of print to make it more interesting. Now, what I like about this guy is the fact that he's got the silver to provide contrast. And when you look at him, you're like, oh, the rest of him is just blue. But then there's some gray print on the chest and some gray on the helmet to kind of set things off. Not much around the back. Got a little bit of gray print there, though. He's just clean, and he looks really, really good. And I just really like this armor combination. Like, I have a sig fig right now, and it's red operator, but to be honest, I'm thinking about going with this guy because I really, really like this dude. But we're going to need some comparisons first. To start, here is the Series 12 Mark 7. They look good together, I think. Definitely this guy's a lot more sleek because of the Mark 7 chest plate, whereas this guy has whatever else this new one is. And then let's compare the shotguns. So here is the one from Series 12. Here is the one from, oops, I'm getting out of camera. That's what happens when you look at it like over top of your camera. Definitely a lot less print for the new shotgun, but I still think it's enough to keep it interesting. Let's bring this dude back in. Will my camera focus? That's the question. Oh, look at that. It actually did. Kind of surprising. This thing is old. There's the other blue Mark 7. Their colors are completely different. Not anywhere close. I like that new blue a lot better. I'm looking around for this dude. So that dude is my current sig fig. And I guess in a way it would be the channel's mascot as well. But this guy right here also happens to match my logo color scheme a lot better. So I have a choice to make. Well, there you have it. That is Halo Heroes Series 13. Definitely a really, really interesting wave. Interesting for the fact that there's only 5. And it's a really interesting mix of characters. I think overall, looking at it as a whole, it's a really, really solid wave. We do have Chief, which is kind of, again, I agree with the whole wasted spot argument, but I also see what Mega's saying, and yeah, you know, if I was running off of a little bit of allowance money and I wanted the Master Chief, being able to get him for $5 would be so good. And I remember when trying to get a Chief at all was so hard. Like, I had to work for months to get my first Chief figure. And so I see what they've done. I can appreciate it. I don't really like it, but I can appreciate it. And then the rest of the figures are all gold. Like, only real issue I can see is this guy's visor is not quite as crisp as maybe it could have been. The Elite has some loose joints, but that's it. Like, the rest of the quality control for this line has been really good so far from what I can see. And it's just good. Like, I really like this wave. It's a really great wave. We get so much new stuff with the Warlord and the Chieftain. We get a new Spartan armor altogether. Potentially a new color. I'm not sure. I'll have to do some comparisons. But I like this wave. And like I said, that guy, I know a lot of people think he was another wasted spot because, yeah, another Mark 7. But I really, really like him. So if you can find these, go ahead and get some. I mean, if you have a Chief, you can obviously pass on Chief, but you don't want to pass on any of these guys at all, especially not him. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.